Hi guys, my name's Wyatt Garland, and this is an art series I'm doing on the video game Dark Souls. This is the second episode of the series, and I am, really looking forward to this part. This is going to be my inking section. Now, if you saw my first video where I blocked out and did the rough pencil of the Asylum Demon, this character I'm drawing right now, you can tell that it's changed a little bit since then. A quick view of what I did in between the videos, it does look a lot more detailed, right? I mean, for sure. But if you really look at it, the proportions and the spots that we kind of decided in the last video are there. You know, I just dug a little bit. You know, you just take the pencil and you chip in here and you use the lines you already have and that you found. And then you're like, oh, and then you push and pull, and then you get, oh, well, you know, that's actually, you know, it's just not that exciting to look at, I feel. So I wanted to go ahead and skip a little bit ahead of that. And as far as the inking goes, we're going to ink the background and everything as well too. But we're going to focus on the figures just because I feel like that's got more of a punch. You know, we're going to pull the figures out. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to outline all of it. And then we're going to just get everything blocked out with the ink. So this is the fun part. I'm going to start with a 0.3 micron pen. I'm going to go in here and get this guy's ugly friggin' mug. Now I don't have a reference up anymore. You don't really want to be completely reliant on the reference, or then the success of the picture is then dictated by the reference. And I shouldn't say that you shouldn't do that. I should say I don't want to do that, right? You know, I've gotten a lot of inspiration from the reference, and I now have my sort of Asylum Demon, and now I want to make it my Asylum Demon, so while I'm inking it, this is where I can kind of put my signature on it if I feel like changing a couple tiny things as it happens, but more or less I've boxed it out. Now I start with the small features first, and then we're going to do a big, fat, thick outline. That's just kind of the way I like to do things. Alright, so he's got this ripped open, like, pit bull snarl. He looks like a pit bull without a nose. Oh, I love it. He is one ugly freaking dude, man. He is bad. So yeah, we're just in here trying to get his teeth and jaw sort of like focused, because that is pretty important for this glutton. Alright, and he's got these big pig ears, and that's the thing, I didn't actually notice this when I was fighting the boss or when I was ever really thinking about looking at the creature. Come on, buddy. There you go. There we go. Alright. I don't want to block out too much black yet, but the inside of his ear seems like a pretty safe place to lay down. I've been doing this thing a lot on my some of my larger illustrations, and that's just been getting the outline of the inking done, so kind of just where everything's gonna land, and then I actually erase it all and look to put like even another light pencil layer on top of that to find the twist of the lighting. I feel like that's been very helpful. We found where we want the lighting to be. Okay, but we can make this part black, right? Let me get sort of like a little bit of his bottom teeth there, but we can fill that in because, come on, I mean, ain't no light going in that gullet. That is, swallow some darkness. No, but like I was saying, I want to, I want to get everything first. Okay. Very good. Yeah. Just sort of lay down the lines. He's got this kind of bulbous head. But yeah, like I was saying, I want to get everything sort of outlined before I fill it. I have a nasty habit of like starting to fill or just like gushing. I'll use a lot of different pen. What is the word here, Wyatt? Come on, think about what you're saying. I normally draw with a lot of different thicknesses of lines. There's a lot of variety right from the start, because I like to be flexible and I like to be like, oh, look, there's going to be this kind of line, there's going to be that kind of line, and then, oh, and this part will be like super black and this part will be super light and dark. And yeah, I get a little bit too into it, a little bit too early, and that sort of muddles it up a little bit. Because, inevitably, as with all art, you realize that while you're doing it, there's always a way to do it smarter and cleaner. And I think the only reason that I jump in a little bit too fast to the inking sometimes is because of the of speed. I've always wanted to be very fast. I was always influenced by Japanese manga artists who draw 15 pages a week every week. They're monsters. So they just have like a simplified style, and I don't really have a simplified style, but I kind of took it on as a challenge to be like, no, I gotta draw really fast still. I mean, I'm not gonna not get work done just because I have a little bit more complexity to my style. So then I was like trying to speed complex things out, and I mean, I kind of reached this point where it was working a little bit, but honestly, it's just not a sustainable way to draw. And all you gotta do is slow down a little bit here, and then do exactly what I've been doing with these videos, and what I want to keep doing is, kind of like manually editing them, like off screen, like, all right, we got this part done, we're excited about this part, now we're going to shift into this part, so give me a second, I'm going to work on this off screen for a bit. It's just helpful. A friend of mine was talking about maybe live streaming some of these, and again, that sounds great, but let's not get ahead of ourselves right now. Especially with the Asylum Demon, because, he's a cool boy, and I think he's a really cool tutorial boss, probably one of the most memorable ones in any video game that I can think of, but he is just the Asylum Demon. Let's not give him too much credit. I don't know if I want to live stream the Asylum Demon, so one step at a time. This grubby little mother has 3 fingers. I'm like, okay. Let's get those buckaroos fished out. And he's got these really cool, just sort of like, clawed growths on his forearm. Woo, he's nasty. I'm busting up this pen. Point 3s are notoriously bad for me. I snap them a lot. I'm mean. I'm rough, obviously, as you can see with the way that I draw. I like to fight through a lot of stuff, and that's just tough on my materials. But yeah, that's why I prefer the what do you call it? The 8. The point 8 really is my bread and butter. But it's important to get this sort of first 0.3 layer in. It's almost, I look at it as almost like, okay, now this is a pencil layer for my pen. This is the way I like to investigate. And a lot of artists, or at least a lot of cartooning or sort of, like illustration, doesn't sort of start with this much pencil. Or have it on such a thick volume of graphite. But I don't know. I don't really think there's ever going to be a time in my life where I move past the layer 1 being as important as it is to me, because that's just where you find so much good stuff. And honestly, even now, I mean, I'm digging into lines that, like I laid down a while ago in the first draft of pencil, and when I was digging with the pencil a little bit earlier, you find some really cool stuff. So it's really just, it's a gold mine, right? You put the shapes there, and then you work with it a little bit, and you push and pull, and you push and pull, and you get these kind of like these remnants of lines, and you can erase the whole figure, and then like the lines are still there. I don't know, almost like the page is crackling with this. It's not dead energy, but it's there. that's there to use. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I want to dig, I want to use that. I want to respect what I already put into the piece and let that guide me. I've never been very intense with the pencil where it's like, nope, it looks like this or it doesn't. That's why digital kind of just feels a little dry to me because, you know, when you get rid of the when you get rid of the lower layer in pencil, when you get rid of the lower layer in digital, or you sort of work on layers in digital, which is just good. It creates very clean, crisp work. But you then I don't, you know, you're tracing, which is fine, and I do that all the time. But I guess what I'm just trying to say is it's not as fun. I mean, I don't know any other way to really put it, like, sort of well. But it's not fun. Like, I'm not trying to make some point about, like, oh, well, I do this because it's better and it's more genuine when I dig in the mud like a child. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, it's a lot of fun to dig in the mud like a child. And as long as I'm doing my art, I'm going to do it that way. That's just the decision that I've come to. He's got some really big suckers on his thighs, too. God, like, what a crazy design. Like, God, From Software, man, they just go all in with some of their designs. And he is such a good example of starting the game off right. He's just like, it's like, no, this thing is horrifying, ugly, weirdly proportioned. It's not this, like we were talking about it, it's not like this huge, bulky, hyper-masculine, hyper-muscular, sort of like Western Satan demon. It's like, this is just, I'm really ripping on the Asylum Demon stands over here. Sorry, but, you know, he's just not my type. Oh, God. Let's see. Okay, we got some of that. Really fun, though, to honestly draw all these folds of flesh. It is interesting. Sort of the weight that they kind of command. And you see, I'm tempted. You see me. I'm going to be putting some lines in the skeletons of where I want to put a bunch of thick shadow. But you see, this is what trips me up, right? I want to put a bunch of thick shadow here. But is it going to look good when I consider the lighting of the piece as a whole? I know that it's partially correct because it's in reference from me considering the light source one time. But I want to consider the light source again all over the piece first, and then we can go in with a thicker brush pen or something and really decide if that's the honest place where we want to put a bunch of shadow. You'll notice I'm putting a couple lines. That's to sort of block out where I might want to put a lot of black, but also the Asylum Demon is sort of like this scaly thing, so it's adding a little bit of texture just in case I don't use those places as I'm predicting. I like it. I'm having fun with this. This is good. Good Lord. I mean, I'm just crying for his knees, man. I don't know how. I don't know how he keeps it all up. He's got some. That being said, he's got some huge calves. Now, we did promise we're going to keep this line here. Oh, God. This is going to be fun. Okay. All right. Love that line. I just wanted to make sure it was there. This line kind of mirrors it. Should I? Yeah. Anytime I'm doing a long line like that, I like to breathe in and out like a complete moron because it helps clear my mind. I like to think of it like a sniper trading a shot, you know, like how they hold their breath. But it's certainly helps me focus on what I'm doing. I don't know, like I have a dialogue in my head constantly, so it's very helpful to just sort of breathe loudly. It's something I took from weight training too. Power lifters sometimes hold their breath, I think. I mean, at least I've had a friend of mine who was a power lifter and was telling me that they did that sometimes, and I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Like you increase your internal pressure so you can do better on one rep. I don't do one reps, so I don't really know if that is the truth. But I do understand the principle, right? Like, when you hold your diaphragm and hold your breath and stuff, it can be pretty helpful. But I never wanted to like completely hold my breath because I feel like, like I pop something if I'm like completely sealed. So my sort of way that I breathe if I'm straining on a weight or something is I breathe in and out like that very slowly. So I still have some pressure in sort of my lungs, I guess, and in my head a little bit. But it's not like I'm holding my breath. I never really want to hold my breath. It's just sort of like holding the tension a little bit longer with the long breaths. So that's just what I try to do when I'm focusing on something. Normally it's just for a second there, but it's a little when I'm at work it's a little less loud, obviously, but when I'm in the middle of already spitting out words like the windbag I am, I try to just make it nice and loud. And okay, we got this one-handed, chubby little grip here. Come on, buddy. There you go. You got it. And that is the thing we were talking about before, right? Asylum Demon don't care about your statements, about how you perceive him. He's like, dude, I'm gonna kill you. No, he's not, and you might be able to see here, but I've kind of blocked out some shapes. I was starting to do that. And that's kind of what I'm going to do with the secondary pencil. We might get to that part. I don't want to make I want to make the progression of these drawings happen. I don't want to make them like too long. I don't want to show you guys every single solitary thing because it's just not. Look at me, oh, look at me, I'm already blocking. Pull back, and I want to do it. I want to look at that, do it again. Okay, shush. Do not get in there and bleed yet. Come on, buddy. Pull those lines. Now, what we're going to do right now is also get a couple of the pieces of this rubble out because we want the rubble to be in the foreground or to at least have a lot of priority because it is being flung up in the air here. This piece right here is going to be hitting our chosen undead. Okay. Lots of... Ooh, nice. Oh, beautiful. Okay, we've got this and this. Very nice. Little just pieces just being flung. I'll draw everything underneath it and stuff, but I wanted to just start with this. I mean, I'll do more like noise and like gravel and like black scratches around this area, but I just wanted to have some of it have some priority, so it feels like, oh wow, this is really far up. And these are the fun bits. Yeah, and I'm really only going to be showing you guys the inking of the fun bits. I mean, I'm going to use a ruler and time to do sort of like the cavernous back here. So, don't worry about that. I'm not worried about it, so you shouldn't be worried either. It's just not, I don't feel like it's exciting. I mean, if I get to the point in this series where you want to see me gut out the whole thing by hand, step by arduous step, in long 45 2-hour long videos, we'll see. I don't know. I just have to get there first. Again, we're on the Asylum Demon, Wyatt. Don't get ahead of yourself. Now this one has a little, I want to push that back a little bit with some cross hatching. Okay, that looks good for that. Now, the other one I want to do, we almost forgot his wing claw thing he's got over here. God, I'm sorry, Mr. Asylum. We were talking about that briefly in the last video about how, like, I think his, like, ruined one wing. If I remember correctly, I mean, the demons are kind of like a fallen order. I mean, you fight the old Iron King later in the game, and he's like the last remnant of demon kind, I'm pretty sure. So, the stray demons and, you know, these type of just sort of raw demons, they're all that's left. So it makes sense that he's wounded or, like, sort of haggard and has just the one scratched wing left, like, lost in battle. I forget if, like, Gwyn's armies sort of, like, took down all the demons when they were taking down the dragons. I don't know. Part of Dark Souls for me is not knowing too much of the lore. I mean, I'm not a huge lore guy. I like really engaging lore that, like, forces me to, like, I mean, like, I can't progress in the plot or something unless I understand what's happening with the lore. I like games and stories that trick me into being like, well, no, I do have to know the exact ancestral line of these characters in order to understand everything. JoJo's pretty good about that. About, like, you know, its lore being how they set up every season. It's like, nope, this is the grandson or the son, or this is the relation, and that's why everything is even happening. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I like stuff like that. But with Dark Souls, it is so much just fun, just abstract fantasy horror and stuff like that. So I really like it being larger than life a little bit in my head. With other games in the From Software sort of canon, like with Bloodborne, I did a full playthrough of that. I kind of dug through all the lore there, and with Shadows Die Twice, 2019 Game of the Year, of course, I beat that to completion. Got all those pro beads, but as far as the earlier Dark Souls, I kind of, you know, I was in college when I was playing Dark Souls 1 and 2, and I was playing them with a friend of mine who was, like, vastly superior at video games, and I kind of, like, learned how to play these games from his tutelage. So they still hold a place in my heart as being these sort of, like, God, I remember the first time we played these games, and we had been playing games our whole lives, and then we found this thing, and we were like, what in the fresh hell? Like, it was just so great, and it was just so great to be intoxicated by a game because of its atmosphere, difficulty, and sort of setting, as opposed to just straight graphics or, like, sound quality or, like, wow factor. Okay, here's the fun part now. We're going to be inking out the Chosen Undead. He's going to obviously be super naked, like you are at the start of the game, just ripped up to shreds, man. But we're going to get his basic frame out here, just so it makes a little bit of sense. Okay. And this is a hard backwards roll. This is a, oh shit moment if I ever saw one. He is getting out of the way. And I want you to understand, he barely made it. I mean, we're here. Let's do another sniper line. While we're at it, let's get these effect lines in here. There you go. There. Anyway, yeah, he barely missed that attack. Like, as far as hitting him, he was very, very close. I don't even think he hasn't even hit the ground yet. He kind of just jumped. God, I am an action shot bitch. I cannot stop drawing them. I actually have a problem where I don't really have any sort of, like, everything I do is dynamic, you know, like every single thing. And I'm not trying to brag like, oh, everything I draw is dynamic. It's like, no, I mean, it's a problem. I don't have any just like casual shots of any of my. They always have to be doing something or like, you know, because I need a sense of complexity to the picture to draw it. I don't know why. Get this boy some pants. He's got his little loincloth on. Because, yeah, you are thrown naked and afraid into this. Like, that's the thing. And then the best part is, well, I don't even think you have a broken sword at this point. I mean, did you pick up one? He's got a broken sword in this picture. And I want to give him that because I think the broken sword is such a great weapon to just have as an option. It's hilarious. Just the fact that, I mean, in a video game, they would give you a weapon that is just, this is broken. Like, why would you use this? And it's like, well, it's I don't know. Like, you know, it's just like, I mean, I've got it in my hand. I guess I should use it, right? And it's a broken sword. Like, no, you're not supposed to use it at all. It's like an item that makes a message. And that's so cool. They do that in Bloodborne as well. Where they give you one shield and it's just trash. It's garbage. Oh god. So does it communicate, hey, don't use shields, you morons. Okay. Alright, so we've got sort of his grotesque frame chipped out. We've got the chosen. Again, these are sort of the outlines now. Let's see if we can just make sure I've got everything about him right. So we're going to pull him out and do some inking work on him. Like I said, I'm going to do the background later because it's boring, and I don't want you guys sitting here watching me ship out some architecture. Jeez, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like rag on architecture at all. It's just not fun for me, so I don't feel like I'd be doing anything other than just complaining while I'm drawing it. That's what I'm saying. It's all about, in the end, it's about me, and I don't want you guys to have to sit through me being like, ugh, why would anyone ever draw a straight line? Ugh. Hate that crap. I remember when I was like 10 or something, and I was reading Hatchet. You guys ever read Hatchet? It's just this stupid Jack of London, Call of the Wild-esque book about this, like, I don't know, like 14 or 13-year-old boy who gets thrown into the wilderness with nothing but a hatchet, and he has to survive, and he does. And then there's like a sequel called Brian's Winter, where he is, why am I telling this story? Where he's stuck there for the winter as well. Because the original book, he gets rescued before winter happens. And then, like, he eventually gets rescued in the end of that book by noticing these straight lines in the snow. And he's like, well, there's no straight lines in nature, so those must have been made by man. And then he follows them to find, like, a ski lodge or something. I don't know, some guy who was out sledding. And I just love quoting that all the time. You know, there are no straight lines in nature. Like, it's just, like, that means anything. I love saying it, though. It's like, yeah, I mean, well, since you're going against the laws of nature, I guess, yeah, I mean, we can do anything, really, right? Yes, Wyatt. And then there are people who draw with computers, so get over yourself, like. I think it's just me being bitter at right-handed people. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Oh, God. I can normally tell, or at least make a pretty accurate guess on whether or not someone is left or right-handed, depending on how their work looks. It's just one of those things that I've come to understand as a left-handed person. Like, slightly more disarray and chaos in my line work than I'll see someone draw and I'm like, how are they doing? I'm like, oh, they're right-handed. It normally seems to happen. I don't know. An architect or somebody who's knows what they're doing with their line layage, typically using the right hand. It's something to do with which side of the brain you're using, I think. I don't know. I don't frickin' know. Alright, okay. So you guys can see him now and all of his... Good lord, all of his... Just... Look at this thing. I love him, I love him. Oh, he's a big boy. Oh, he's a big boy. And then we've got this. Cool, 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 cool. This is cool. Go to the chaos. Alright, and I want to use a big thick pen for his weapon in general. I don't want there to be a single light... I'm sorry, a single flimsy line. God, you know, I was told once that, you know, when I showed my drawings to somebody, get that flimsy line out of here. Excuse me? It is a illustrative line that I am building, okay? Like, laying down a line is not the end all, okay? You can put a line on top of it, next to it, with it. It's the start. A line is the beginning. It is not the end, okay? Life is not all about, like, oh, well, you didn't put it down right. It's like, nobody puts down anything right ever. And don't be foolish enough to think that anyone does. Just keep working on it. You know, it's not rocket science. All right. More fleshy cartilage there. God, he's looking good though. I'm liking him. He is. Oof. Let's go in there with a big old 0.8 here. Oh, look at this. Oof. Oof. Oh, stop it. Stop all this dark pour. Connect me to the netherworld, you juicy, juicy pen. Oh, sorry, forgive me. I'm just excited about how much ink is coming out of this thing. It's great. It's a grand old time. So yeah, we're just making this edge line a little bit heavier here. I could make it super heavy, but I don't really. Again. What I want to do is come in here with not with a 0.8, but with just a 1. I've got a 1 pen, and just make it just thick. But I just gotta give it some time. I will do that. I literally will do that. But I've got to get there first. Alright. Alright. Yeah, but I'm happy. This is good. Look at this. Okay. Yeah, we really want him to be outlined effectively. There we go. And this is just how I choose to illustrate, you know? Everyone has their own choice, but this is mine. And this is mine. But really, I've grown leaps and bounds. My art has, when I've just sat down and been like, you gotta do it one at a time, man. You gotta do it piece by piece, step by step. Because yes, I am very talented, and technically I can do all the steps at once. And ooh, look at how impressive that is, and I can do it, but then it doesn't just come out as well. So just take your time, step by step. Don't interrupt the warm-up. All that pencil work we did before, the pencil work we're going to go in again. We are doing that. I've made the decision, executive decision right now. To make sure the lighting is perfect, we're going to be doing that. Yeah, not unfortunately, but I kind of wanted to see if I could get the inking done in one video. But here's what I think I'm going to do. No, there is no think. End quote. No, the situation I'm explaining right now. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to outline him a little bit here. Then I'm going to outline our chosen undead. And just so we make sure we have fun this video, I'm going to brutally ink his weapon. Notice I'm only putting the heavy outline in this side of his face to kind of like pull. I'm not going to go in here with it. Just like I'm not going to go on the inside of his hand here. I just want to like create some sort of like a 3D effect a little bit. Sort of like a shadow fundamentally in the outline. So that this is like popping and this edge of his face is popping. I just want the Asylum Demon to pop, you know? I just want him to get out there, feel himself. And again, even with the back of the ear, we just want to like do the outline there just because, and on the edge of his face here, just because we want this sort of situation. Got his antlers though, ugh, very annoying. Yes, we get it. You're so important. Oh my god, look at all the bony dicks on your head. Ugh. Well, you know, what do you expect from a demon? Let's see. And that's one of the other things I like a lot. I was playing Doom a lot recently, getting ready for Doom Eternal. I'll probably draw a Doom creature because all those are awesome. Because they are similar to the Asylum Demon here, in that they're unflinchingly just demonic, you know, like there's I watch a lot of anime, I don't know if you could tell, and other media that kind of like tries to soften the demon aesthetic, because the demon aesthetic is cool, it really is. So a lot of people find some way to like make them anti-heroes, or sort of make the concept of demonhood be like a little more PC, like, and translate it to sort of a visceral intensity, as opposed to sort of like just like a sinful horror. Like they're like, oh no, he's just got a bunch of energy, so he's got his demons. And you know, I think it's a good message to do that, to sort of just like communicate that, yeah, just because you have bad things and feelings, like that doesn't mean that you're sin bound to the bottom of biblical hell. You know, like it's okay to like just be a little bad sometimes. But I also do appreciate when media is like, oh no, but this is like a demon. Like, this is like kill and slaughter everything it sees. This is like, you know, this is what hell is about type of demon. And both Dark Souls and Doom do have those versions of demons that they are unapologetic. I love unapologetic villains, because you need a balance. Like, you know, I feel like, what is it? There'll be a lot of series that have a lot of just, I don't know, anti-heroes and like this and that, and everybody has a chance for forgiveness and stuff, because that's a great message and that should be the case. But you need a little bit of unforgivable evil. You need to have principles, is what I'm saying. And you can't jump around the concept of certain evils, you know? It's like, oh, there can't be too many examples of like, what do you call it? What do you call it when someone's been given a second chance? Retribution. There can't be too many examples of retribution. I believe in most examples of retribution. That's fine. But you need some like unforgivable evil too. So then you can show the principles that the characters in the video game or the series that they're fighting against, you know? Because it's like, that's what makes a fight interesting. The fact that they are going against characters with unforgivable principles, so they have to test themselves. They have to test their own principles, right? Like, that's what makes a hero exciting. The fact that they are put in sort of a pressured situation by something that is unflinchingly monstrous, and they have to be like, oh, well, I guess I have to be the same but opposite, you know? Like, it's intense, it's cool. Okay, we're going to end the video here with one more thing. I'm going to get this giant weapon. I don't know what it is. I looked to see if it was like kind of like skulls. I feel like there's skulls in it, but like only due to like just the proxy of being smashed over so many heads. I feel like there's some skulls like embedded in this thing. But it is a club. Like, it just, horrible, horrible club. Now I'm using a .1, and it is an old .1. It's not a juicy .1. This boy is rough and ripping. I like it, you know, like, there's definitely times where I want as much ink as possible, but I want kind of a gnarly line like that. Yeah, this is working out for me. This is exactly what I want. It's going to be kind of like dirty and rot. Because that's kind of the vibe I got from this weapon. I was equally afraid of this weapon's sort of like girth and ability to just sort of destroy me. But also, just it looked gross. I was like, oh god. Where's he been swinging that thing? And let's be careful not to draw any sort of like free shrapnel with it, because then the shrapnel will be drawn with a different line and it'll look weird. Boom. Wyatt Garland, you're amazing. Yeah, let's get a little bit of black. Yeah, this is just where we can get a little. We can start to we can start to have some fun. Don't tell anybody, but we can pour a little bit here. And you know me, I like to pour it up. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, we just want a lot of black here to sort of like complement this shockwave that we're going to be putting down. And you notice I have a couple lines twisting here just to give it like this, again, this twisted look. Okay, I'm getting a little excited here. Look at me, like, ooh, and then can I pour a little bit in the middle, please, please? Not too much. Well, quiet. This weapon is kind of not in the sunlight at all, so I don't have to consider the lighting too much. But also, more importantly, it's like very, very dark in and of itself. The lighting is not going to affect it that much, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, this rim should be light, and this rim should be light, and a lot of dark in the middle here to sort of really pull the idea that it is sort of this tubular. It's like a crunched can of. It's like a can of soda that's been twisted and then put on top of a stick. Like, that's what we're dealing with. And do not use this pen anywhere else. Lock it up. Okay, guys. I think that's going to do it. Yeah, it's going to do it for this inking. So we've popped out the Asylum Demon. This is close to how he's going to look. Again, I'm going to, off screen, I'm going to, like, clean up, just do these lines here, and get all the pencil off the page. And then we're going to add the pencil back on. What? That's how I do lighting. It's just a way to make sure I'm blocking the lighting appropriately. I'm still learning how to use my lighting effectively, so we're going to do that. Anyway, yeah, really excited. Cannot wait to paint this thing. Cannot wait to go to the next boss. We are smashing this. Yeah, drop a like or whatever you want to do. I really appreciate anybody who's watching.